They may be called the next generation, but they're the church of today. Reach, disciple, and mobilize students to share the hope of the gospel. This is Next Gen on Mission with Shane Pruitt and Paul Wooster.
Hey friends, welcome to another episode of the Next Gen on Mission podcast. As always, this is Shane Pruitt, National Next Gen Director for the North American Mission Board. And with me is always my brother, my good friend, my ride or die, Paul Wooster, our National Collegiate Director. What's up, Paul?
Living the dream, bro. We're stoked.
Living the dream. I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, I don't know if you're supposed to have this much fun in ministry, but I'm having a blast. You know?
Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, Paul, I'm so excited about our guest today, man. Without a doubt, man, he's got much cooler hair than you and I do. And he is, man, and I love it. I love when we have Gen Z on the show because, our target is really Gen Z and leaders who are influencing Generation Z. So I always love to hear from Generation Z themselves. And so today our guest is none other than our friend, Collin LaBrosse. And, what's amazing about Collin is that, man, he's humble, he's young, he's Gen Z. And man, he's got more social media followers than most countries have population. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah, today we're going to talk about influencing Generation Z with social media. So Collin, welcome to the podcast, my friend. And of course we always my Texan twang always messes up your last name. So man, just fix it for me because I know I butchered it. It, Collin.
You're almost there. Yeah. Collin LaBrosse. All good, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Excited to be here and have a good talk with you guys. You guys are great.
Absolutely, man. Well, Collin, before we get too spiritual, man, tell us one fun fact about Collin that we may not already know that we need to know.
I am highly addicted to movie theater buttery popcorn and Chinese, or I don't know if they're actually fully Chinese, but cream cheese wontons.
Yeah. Come on. I love it. Hey, so when you get butter popcorn, do you order it like I want the butter popcorn with extra butter?
Extra. Always mandatory.
Yeah. Totally, man, we have theaters here where you can get butter popcorn and then you go and there's a butter station where you can just pour it on yourself. And my daughters drench it.
Yeah, you know about that.
Your hands are just covered in the butter halfway through the movie, It
is.
Arteries getting clogged right up. Just kidding. No, on the real though, I've really cleaned up my diet. That might be a new thing to be talking about, but I'm sure I can get into all that. But how much it's been helping my mental health and just physical health, eating cleaner. But like I said, it's an addiction. So I'll randomly go hit a movie and get some popcorn. But overall, it's 90%, 10% for clean versus just treating myself. So
there you go.
Well, dude, I'm right there with you on the obsession with the popcorn. I'll talk my kids even to go into going to the movies just so I can get a thing of popcorn. I'm like, hey, let's go to the movies. Yeah. But that's awesome, man. All right, man, let's jump into those more serious questions. The first one we ask all our guests is, what do we need to know about Generation Z?
That's a big old question. But from what I know and what God's placed in my heart, my life, and my friends, my little brother's 17. And it's just I've always just had this heartbeat on, or, whatever they say, thumb on the pulse of the generation in the sense of knowing what needs are, what Generation Z doesn't need, what the world doesn't need. That's really it. Is I go to God, he puts in me what I need, he deposits in me what's for this world for such a time as this. But there's so much that I think the whole world is just shifting towards. That is I think there's about to be this washing away of what isn't genuine, and just I think there's a lot of fake and just doing stuff to do it or because other people do it. Hold on, what was the full out question again? What does Gen Z need?
Well, basically we let people take it where they want, but what do we need to know about Generation Z kind of as we're seeking to reach them and influence them?
Gotcha. Yeah, Gen Z is fully, I guess the word is fiery and passionate, and they could care less about the flash, the religious jargon. They just want what's real, what's tangible. Jesus is tangible. They want just cut right to the point. That's what I do with my stuff. It's like, I'm not intentionally trying to create content. I'm not trying to do this stuff. It's like, yo, what's truly going on the inside is going to come out. And that's what I think people are desperate for. And I think what they need more of is now the church stepping up in places of actual mental health talk, actual places of practical things that they can, because now it's like, hey, what did I learn in high school? I didn't learn how to do taxes. I didn't learn how to do, you know what I mean? So a lot of practical things is what I think Gen Z needs, spiritual and practical, and in a simple way. That's my mandate, is just getting simple, foundational, to not just, actually, Shane, I remember you posting like a week or two ago or something, like, don't dumb down, but bring them up. I love that. That right there, that's it, man. Don't try to dumb down the gospel. The gospel is everything it needs to be. And we can all rise up to it and stand, you know what I mean? Powerful, empowered, equipped, all of it.
I love that, Collin. And Collin, man, I love following you, man, on social media. You've become one of my favorite follows of late, because all of your videos, man, and all of your videos get a ton of views, and every single one of them, you just point to Jesus, and you always start with the word, man. So I see you're passionate about Jesus, you're passionate about the Bible, and you're passionate about making Jesus known. So, hey, tell us a little bit of your story, just real briefly, of how you came to know Jesus and where that passion comes from.
Yeah, dude, it's kind of ironic because I'm literally right now sitting in front, because I'm back in my hometown for a little bit. Yep. And I came to Park so we could do this. Very ironic. I'm looking at the very place I went to preschool, which was my Christian preschool, and it's called Rose of Sharon Church. And I just noticed they called the little youngins Rosebuds. I thought that was great. Like, literally, I just think it's cool because God's doing a lot in my heart right now of bringing me back to that first love. All these different things have been put on me. I'll get to more story, but all these things, as stuff grows, is these different strains of Christianity want me to be some in their box or out of a box. And I'm just like coming back to like Jesus, who is beautiful and amazing and bigger than we've ever imagined. And that's the one I fell in love with. And that's the one that's going to bring fire back to my bones. Could cry just talking about what he's been up to in the last even year of completely undoing and breaking me from what I thought was even in mind or is cool or whatever. Like, but yeah, from a young age, always had a faith. My mom did a really good job of just bringing me up in the faith. Even though I've never been perfect, let's not get it twisted. God is still saving me, and he's still calling me to be needy of him, and dependent on him as a baby to their father, right? Like that, dependent on him and understanding, having grace for myself in failures and places that I'm still working on and growing in. But yeah, from a young age, just have always had this connection with Jesus. But then once my parents divorced in third grade, ended up getting shown porn in third grade, got bullied in sixth grade, was a wrestler my whole life. One of my very first dreams was like UFC, because my dad's the high school coach out here the last 35 years. Dude, I grew up watching wrestle for him, ended up fighting in the UFC against Holloway type stuff. And he ended up coaching with my dad when I was in high school, ended up having full ride type stuff. We can get there, all that. And I think God's doing a lot of full circle things right now in my life that is almost like, I don't know, only God type things that I can't put it into words of how intentional God is to like the things that maybe even I've forgotten about. God being faithful to say, hey, I've started that, I'm going to complete it. But yeah, ran from God in high school. Everything of the world just started coming in. And I see now, having grace for myself, is how much I was just numbing and masking pain through alcohol, drugs, fooling around, all this stuff in high school, of even willingly knowing. That's the thing about what God has shown me and set the foundation of my life is when I was in the pig slop as a prodigal, he's there throwing a party saying, you want to come home. That's the God who saved my life, the one who's partying, the one who's celebrating, the one who's no matter how far off, no matter what's gone wrong, he's right there saying, I love you. Like, that is bonkers. But I've had a very tough life. And I think now the shift is coming. Even what you guys will probably be seeing in my social is not just because I am very, an encourager and just like been vibrant, but like life hit in a way that I have no time to do anything else other than truly just give out of the brokenness. That's what God said. He's like, you're not gonna speak out of the flesh anymore. All the one-liners, which like one-liners are good. All this stuff truth is amazing and beautiful and sets us free. But from the place of brokenness, the true anointing is from the crushing. And I've learned what that means in a way that I've never experienced before, to where I've understood that, man, this life is not to be held on to. And we aren't made for this world. Like, we're made for resurrection, and we're made to be with him. And, we're made for eternity. And that's what Jesus restored from the garden. I'm all over the place, but there's a lot on my heart when it comes to seeing the scope. With depression, anxiety stuff, it really puts you right here where you only see barely what's in front of you. But Jesus wants to show us that there's way more to life than what we see, right? That's the point, is this deeper faith of trusting when we don't see, trusting when we don't feel. Getting a little preachy, but my story, it would take hours. I really do think I need to do a little documentary series on just my life and unpacking things. And I'm in a place now of a healing season, coming out of getting to the root of trauma, grief, guilt, shame, places where trust, hope, and love have been broken, what covenant is, what love really is. But yeah, dude, I'm a runner from God. I'm a fighter. I'm a wrestler. And I see how God is showing me that he's the champion of my life. I was the guy in wrestling. Like, that was my thing. And I ended up going to college for it, ended up dropping out when he changed and saved my life, ended up reading The Prodigal God by Tim Keller. That halfway through that book wrecked me. Yeah. And that's when I said, all right, God, I'm all in. Because I would have said I was a believer my whole life. I was I'm forgiven, I can do what I want. Even in high school, probably even telling people about God in high school at parties type stuff. You know what I mean? And God can use all things, but there's a level of sold out surrender that it's not like, that's what I'm coming back to now, is this, like, it's not duty, it's delight. And that's actually only place he wants me to live from, is this. Right. I'm in him, he's in me. Let's run and let's go. But I do have a tendency to, like, not fully grasp what he's actually doing in my life. And I think any human really deals with that. But even now, because I'm in this struggle of, okay, he redid everything this last year. So now I'm like, what is social media what is it now? Because you're doing a new thing, and I can't do a new thing in an old lens or an old way. And so he's shifting a lot. And now it's just going to be this, all right, the things that he's placed in me that truly that he wired me for, to give him glory and not lie dormant, being effective in a few things, not spreading myself thin. That's a little scope, but there's so much in my story, man, that he's just been faithful. And right there, even when I was running from him, spitting in his face with my sin, him just continuing to come after me. And that's the God I know, is the one who has never given up on me. And he blows my mind. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. Hey, well, Collin, thanks for sharing, man. And hey, we kind of mentioned this earlier jokingly, but it's true, man. Like, God's given you a massive platform on social media. I mean, at the time of this recording, and you have, well over 600,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram. Man, tell us briefly just kind of like how that kind of started for you, and using your social media platform to point people to Jesus. And one area I know you've even shared about how many people will reach out to you through DMs that are unbelievers or far from God and coming home and all that. So just share briefly about using your social media for really evangelism, ministry, and to point people to Jesus.
Yeah, dude, I think it's so crazy how God will do what you're not, like, he wants us to hold loosely to everything other than him, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think I'm in a place now of, even, I'll get right to that, but I'm probably going to make a social media course, maybe even give it for free type stuff, Great. Calling Screw Strategy, Let God Grow It. Like, for whatever I'm telling you, for whatever the mission is, if it's his, then he will carry you through it and give you exactly what you need to do it. if he calls you to it, right? It's like you obey, he'll do the results. You scatter the seed, he'll make the forest, right? But when it comes to me, dude, I've just always, from a young age, have seen the beauty of God and know what he can do to each individual heart, how he's affected my family, how I've seen him work in people's lives that I look up to. My all-time inspiration, Jeff Bethke. Why I Hate Religion to Love Jesus. That dude, everything you see me walking in, that dude inspired and sparked. Even in 8th grade, actually. But yeah, so I've probably actually since seeing that video, seeing the possibility of, oh my goodness, impact through the internet, right? Of how much that dude has actually discipled me through the internet for a decade, and we haven't even met. He's been the big bro. He's been the big bro I never had, right? And praise God, he connected us, and we'll get to meet soon. And that's going to be one of the coolest moments of just like, man, you messed me up for Jesus, bro. Like for the last however many years that even in my running, I knew there was a true north kind of guy. Like, dang, he's walking in it, faith, family, focus, all this stuff. And I think there's always just been a seed since watching that video of like, I think God's going to do something like that in my life one day. Never really fully knew. And, but yeah, it's like when God calls something. I was working in Hy-Vee Bakery here in Cottage Grove. And I remember God showing me what he was doing to me in that time when I was kneading, putting in ingredients, taking stuff out of the dough and then putting it in the fire, and then it's presentable, right? Like he was refining me. He was kneading me. He was, doing all that to me. And then I ended up driving Lyft, and my grandma, she called it church on wheels, right? And I'm telling you, there's thousands of people, thousands of rides. People, it started really becoming real ministry wise. And even now it's like, people are like, oh, you're doing ministry. I'm like, hey, ministry is just loving people. Like every day, every life, or, it's our life that gets to be a lifestyle. But people are getting out of the car asking for prayer, hugging me, crying. And I'm like, dang, like God has really put, this in me. And I'm just giving away what I've learned and who I've seen him be to me in my life. And even now I'm in a season of like, when you can't fully understand what he's doing, it's like, start asking God, who do you want to be to me in this situation? Like, who are you trying to show yourself to be in this pain, right? Oh, I'm not seeing healing. Oh, he must be healer, right? All that. But I've just been given away. And actually my motive, bro, is speaking to the high school Collin who was running from, I look in the camera every time and see that Collin. And yeah, it's just like very real to me. Seeing the power of Jesus and how he can change and walk with and be in the trenches and show that it's not always sunshine and smooth sails and glassy seas, but that he can be the strength within every storm and fire. So I just, when it comes to social media, man, I don't even want it, to be honest. Even at this point I'm at in my mental health, like I know he has bestowed it. So it's this thing of now stewarding, because if it's up to me, I'm getting off and I'm just trying to do what I can to full up, be healthy and do the things I love. But I know he's called me to that. But I was driving Lyft, right? And then my friend Atika, she was one of the first Christian TikTokers. We knew each other outside of social media stuff. But she was in January 2019. She's like, you need to get on TikTok, da da da. I'm like, nah, I'm doing some other stuff, And but I remember it was 9/11 2019 that God gave the green light in my heart of it's time to start posting on TikTok. It wasn't, oh, other people are doing it. It was like, no, mandate, like I said, to get foundational and simple, to bring the gospel and the truth of God to people, to whoever it is, Gen Z, the whole world needs him. And the way he's impacted my life, Jesus, through people, through Jeff Bethke, through the internet, right? It's like, now it's just this handing of the baton. And now I've even seen homies who got millions of followers hitting me up. One dude saw me at this thing. He came up, he's like 6'4", I'm only like 5'9", big dude, hugging me, crying, saying, Collin, dude, you're the reason I do what I do. He's got like, you know, millions of followers. And we start crying there. He goes, Collin, you got me out of my porn addiction. You got me through my breakup. You got me through all the things that I've walked through. And it's not even, that's the thing. I'm not trying to put something on. I'm just like, yo, heart cry through the pain and what God can redeem and do, and show that nothing is impossible to them who believe in that what Jesus walked in, we can walk in. And when we get out of the way, I'm just seeing how much, man, pride and ego kills what God wants to do, kills our lives. I'm telling you, dude, God humbled me. But social media, it can be a tool or a weapon, depending on whose hands it's in. And if we put it right back at the throne. I was just talking with my cousin right before this. He said, isn't it funny how God doesn't need us, yet he uses us, in the sense of like, dang, he was telling me about his kid. They were trying to wash the car and he let his kid like do the wheels. And even that was like, dang, God doesn't put stuff in our grasp that we can even do on our own. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but he's just so big. And I think he just laughs at a lot of things we do, thinking we're dope, or thinking things are, oh yeah, we did this. Like, nah, man, he's just, he's a big God, and we get to partner with him. So
love that, man. Yeah. And I see that authenticity, and really, it makes me really excited about what God is doing in your life. And because I've been through similar circumstances where God just kind of wrecks you and gets you more usable. Not that he wasn't using me before, but I've definitely been through seasons like what you're describing, where it's like everything is fresh and new. And so we're praying God continues to do that in all of our lives, and our listeners, that they just are ready. And when God does that, like, open yourself up to share your story. And I love that you're doing that. How have you seen God use kind of your vulnerability, this authenticity in your ministry? I mean, you kind of already shared a little bit of that, but how important is it to be vulnerable and authentic in your communication?
It's everything. I just listened to one of my favorite pastors the other day, and he said, God only deals in truth. And he can't work with plastic. He can't work with performance, pride, all that stuff. The authenticity and vulnerability, it's like, it's not something I'm trying to do. It's just like, yo, this is me. Like, and who I am before the throne of God, right? That congruency, that's what people have told me. If it's one thing, it's, man, you have your times and struggles and stuff, but they say a consistency. And I know it's because Christ is that solid center, that he's the truth, that I'm not only changed by, but get to be my full self around, which frees me from what people think, which actually makes me enabled to impact them. Instead of needing something from them, I'm just giving what's in my heart. And I'd say it really is everything. And you look at Jesus and how he operated, and how he wept, how his heart was in anguish on the cross, all the things like that people don't realize of, like, even just, that's it, like the struggle and the tribulations and the trials that we all go through. I just want people to understand that, like, yo, even if you're a Christian, yes, we're blessed and seated in heavenly places. Like, my goal is to let you know that in that hardest place, when you don't even know why you got breath in your lungs anymore, like, that you would just see why he made you, and what, like, the why behind your life is him. It's to wake up and enjoy him and be with him, and then shine him from that enjoyment. And man, I just there's been so many shifts. It's crazy. And what's meant to be shaken will be shaken. But when it comes back to vulnerability, I think you being your full honest self before the Lord has to be the only thing that's driving. It's the inner life, the secret place, right?
Right.
Are you really on your knees before God? Not even just doing the nice, good prayers, but like shouting at God, crying, like, Lord, I have no idea what's coming next. Don't even know what's going on in my body. How is this happening? Like, he's not afraid of those places. And as I learned that he's not afraid, then why would I be afraid of what people are going to think about me being real and raw? Because yeah, end of the day, anything that's fluff, just, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah.
That's good. That's good, man.
I love it, Collin. Hey, well, Collin, man, I love, man, just your honesty, man, your vulnerability, just how raw you are. And I think that's something, a reminder for all the leaders that are listening, whether it's pastors, collegiate leaders, youth pastors, is, hey, you're hearing it from Gen Z themselves right here with Collin, is that, hey, they can handle it. Like what he mentioned a while ago, hey, we don't need to dumb it down, disciple them up. They can handle it for us to be authentic, raw. And at the end of the day, people aren't looking for cool leaders to follow anyway. They're just looking for real and authentic ones. And Colin, I love it, man, how you use your social media. And I think that's a lesson for all of our listeners is, hey, if you're on social media, use it to point to Jesus. And we can use our social media as a tool to point to Jesus, or we can use it as a weapon to make people run from Jesus. And we don't want to do that. So, man, I love that heart, Collin. Collin, we always close, man, our conversations with this same on mission charge. The heart behind this podcast is to see the next generation realize they're the now church. That Gen Z aren't the future of the church, but they're church right now. They have a mission on their life now. They have a calling of God on their life now. Would you give us one closing thought on this and one kind of practical next step in that mindset?
Yeah. Dude, there's just so many things. I feel like we could go for hours, but biggest thing that I really want to touch on real quick is like overarch of social media. Everything that like I really want people to understand is like, don't try to sell your fruit, let people pick it. And the only mission is to wake up and know Jesus and then love people from that place. And that's what I think I'm learning now is I don't have to be this dude on a stage, which I know God's got speaking stuff coming and stuff, which I thrive actually more in a creative outlet. I'm a poetic thinker. I'm an artist at heart. Don't let anyone other than God define who you are, but don't let that even one-liner be a something to let you sit in comfortability or staying stuck in something. Like really go to your creator who has created you to create. And so you could have beautiful fruit falling off your tree without, right? Like a cherry tree isn't trying to shout that he's a cherry tree to get people to notice, right? He's just plopping out the cherries because that's just what he does. And when we're in Christ, we're just, what's in us is going to come out. And life is to be in him and him in us. And we get to reflect heaven to earth. We get to reflect praise and glory back up to him. And that's what I'm getting back to is your gifting, your wiring. The Christian spiel of, use your gift and use your, all of that. You know what you're gifted for. You know what you're strong in. Write down your strengths, what you're weak in. My cousin just told this to me. It's that alignment and access and what we give our literal energy to. Because we don't want to be doing anything. Like be praying for closed doors. That's what he was telling me about his marriage type stuff. Be praying for closed doors so you can just go all in on what you know is for you. Even this right here is a tangible thing of I've learned how anxiety is actually more of a radar and alert system. And even being with him today, doing this, usually I feel kind of lately when I'm doing stuff like this kind of overwhelming anxiety type stuff. But like the Lord is freeing me as I'm aligned with what he truly has for me. And it's not even the podcast. It's not the stage. It's, hey, don't chase the mic. Let the mic chase you. If that's what God even wants, like just get to God and everything you need is going to get to you. I promise.
I love that.
That's great. That's so good. Thank you, Collin, man. I'm so encouraged. I know we could talk all day and it's just, man, this is great. And we look forward to continuing to partner with you. What are some ways that our listeners can connect with you on social media and all that?
Yeah, man. Most active place I've been lately is Instagram. If you're struggling, if you're truly going through hard places that, you're not even able to talk about. First of all, get some therapy, which I've been doing, which has helped. But like, I'm a friend to all. And my DMs are wide open to just pray, talk through stuff as best I'm able to. Instagram for sure, but we'll be revamping a little bit on the social side of things, but it's going to be a little more vlog style, a little more. But hey, Jesus is the main thing, the only thing that matters. So hit me up.
Awesome, Collin. Hey, and give that handle,
Yeah,
TikTok and Instagram handle.
Yeah. Just Collin LaBrosse. Also got some music stuff coming soon that I'm excited about. That is going to be cool. Just storytelling, the real places. I think music is a great place where you can actually have those thoughts brought out, and people can really connect with. It's going to be fun. So, yeah, awesome. Collin LaBrosse. Collin with 2 L's, and then LaBrosse is spelled like lacrosse, but with the B. LaBrosse, there it is.
That's right, LaBrosse. Yeah. LaBrosse, yeah. Got it. Yeah. Yes, hey, Collin, thank you so much for your time, man. So rich, absolutely. So practical, and encouragement. Always enjoy your honesty, your transparency, your authenticity. And friends, thank you again for listening to the Next Gen on Mission podcast, being a part of this conversation. Paul and I always count it a privilege to spend this time with you. We know time is the most valuable thing you can give somebody. So thank you for giving some of your time to us to be a part of these great conversations. Listen, if you have any questions on reaching the next generation, please email us at evangelism@nam.net. We'll try to address those on a future podcast. Hey, if you're enjoying these conversations, hey, don't forget to, share this, tell others, put it on social media. Also, if you want to start seeing the video versions of these conversations, you can check those out at the GenSend YouTube channel, and we post all those on there as well. Listen, friends, we hope you have a great rest of your day, and tell somebody about Jesus.